Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Amazing Teams Taco Bytes episode, where Doug and I chat about all things gratitude, Hey Taco, and making work better. Today, I'm excited to celebrate a Hey Taco milestone, our 10th birthday, and we'll be interviewing Doug on the lessons he has learned in the last 10 years of building Hey Taco. Doug, welcome to the Taco Bytes episode.
Thank you.
10 years, when I say that, how does it make you feel? Old?
Old, but kind of makes me feel young, right? Like it's 10 years. 10 years is a long time to be working on something, but it doesn't feel like 10 years. So I guess that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. It means you got more energy to keep going.
And then more importantly, when I tell people it's been 10 years, they're really surprised.
Well, a lot of businesses don't even make it past the 2-year mark. It's really hard to build a business that is profitable and can sustain itself for this
And
long.
and so it's so true. And in fact, that is on my list of 10 things. That is number 10. Building a
That is
business
number
is
10.
hard.
Okay, we're gonna give people a little bit of context. So
Okay.
we will be talking about lessons that you learned in the last 10 years. 10 lessons for 10 years. What do you think about that? I'm sure there's been more than 10, but one lesson for each year, I think will suffice.
When you told me that we were gonna do this, I was like, "Wow," I probably have a lot of lessons, right? In 10 years, long time, a lot of lessons, and I sat down at my desk, and I was having a hard time coming up with lessons, and, um, and then all of a sudden, something happened, something clicked, and then it was just like, I couldn't stop coming up with these lessons, and then it got to the point where it's like, I have too many lessons, I need to boil them down to the best lessons, and so just to give you a little peek behind the curtain, that's what I've been struggling with for the past week is trying to figure out what lessons I want to talk about because have been a lot.
Well, it's really hard to simplify things. Like, it's really easy to create a list of 100 because, yes, you learn something new every single day, right? But, like, how do you make like, this is the important lesson that I wanna share with people who are listening to this.
It's so true. And there's like a wide spectrum of types of lessons I've learned. I mean, everything from building a business all the way down to building a culture, and in between there's just so much that has happened. And so yeah, I mean, it's like I could focus on just the building a business. I can focus on just building culture. I can focus on teams and people. There's just a lot of different areas to talk about.
That is very true. So it sounds like you created a combination of all these areas.
Yeah, I've boiled it down to a list of 10. I feel like these 10 are really what have defined my journey building Hey Taco.
Before we dive into the 10, because I'm dying to hear them, can you tell me more about what you're wearing right now?
Yeah, so this is the official taco costume. Every new employee at Hey Taco receives one, and it's optional attire. If you want to wear it to the office, you're more than welcome. It's a great way to spark some joy. And so I haven't worn it in a while, and I was actually thinking like, oh, when was the last time I wore the taco costume? It's been a while, and so here I am in the costume. I've got some light shining in on me. At times it's a little bright, but I think we're getting some good highlights here on the shell.
You know what's great about having a taco costume at the ready in your closet is that when Halloween comes around, you never have to wonder about, "Oh my, what am I gonna be this year?" Well, you can always
Right?
be a taco.
It's funny, you can, and I think everybody expects that of me. And so what I do is I trip everybody up and I wear my hot dog costume.
Alright, Doug, what's the first lesson that you wanted to
All
share
right.
with people that you learned?
Yes. My first lesson, I think you kind of started taking me down that path. And that is building a business is hard. It takes time and it takes patience, resilience. It's a lot of work. Back in the early days of Hey Taco, I followed Alex Turnbull's journey to 100,000 MRR with his business Groove, and his journey was like so inspiring to me. Like I remember following along and like rooting for him. And at that point in time, Hey Taco had just like hit like 10K MRR, and I remember feeling like how far away 10,000 or sorry 100,000 a month felt, but I never really let it discourage me. And I know today there's all these stories of people hitting these crazy numbers in a matter of weeks with like AI SaaS tools, and that's great. But building something sustainable, something that lasts, takes time. I think a lot of people give up too soon because it gets hard. If building a business was easy, everybody would be doing it. So lesson number 10, building a business is hard.
Did you ever want to just quit and stop and be like, you know what? Not that it's too hard, but like I'm just kind of done with it and it's not moving in the direction I want it to. And if you had, which I'm sure, like I feel like every person building a business has a point when they're like, I'm done. What has kept you
Yeah.
going?
There, as you know, there was definitely times where I was like, you know what, it was more like I need to take a break. It was never like I'm done. And I think it's because I believe in the problem because I felt the problem. And so I think because of how connected I am to the problem that we're solving, that's what got me out of bed every day. And that's why I never woke up wanting to quit. There's definitely been times where I was like, I need a little break.
And did you take that break when you needed it?
Taking breaks as a solo founder is pretty difficult, but I think once you and the rest of the team joined, it definitely made it easier for me to take those breaks that are really important for founders. Those breaks are what kind of they can heal you, they can motivate you, they can do a lot of things, and I feel like sometimes founders miss that in their journey.
I'm sure your family appreciates you taking breaks as well. All right, so we started with lesson number 10. Does that
Yeah.
mean the next one is lesson number 9?
Yeah. Lesson number 9 from the past 10 years of building HeyTaco. And number 9 is don't do it for the money. Money, as you know, is a terrible long-term motivator. We've seen this with HeyTaco, monetary rewards. They work for a while, but they won't carry you through when things get hard. When you focus on solving a problem in the best and most meaningful way, the money will follow. And so also when you do it for the money, your customers are going to feel that, right? They're going to know like, you're not in it for the right reasons. And so number 9, don't do it for the money.
How did you deal with that aspect when you were transitioning from your full-time role to building Hey Taco? Because obviously, like you have to pay the bills. Like we all have to pay our bills, right? So how did you manage that at a high level when you were
Yeah.
transitioning?
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, my transition plan was very generous. It was a 3-month transition plan from the Motley Fool. And over the course of those 3 months, I had seen the Hey Taco go from making no money to making money. So like I saw the light, and oftentimes, just making that first dollar is the hardest part. Once that first dollar was made, I was like, okay, this is something. And so I transitioned out of the Motley Fool into Hey Taco full time, and that kind of really helped. It helped me kind of believe in what I was working on, and support from early on.
It sounds like there was some money. Hey Taco was bringing some money in, so felt more confident. You're not just about to not be able to provide food for your family.
Exactly. I mean, I'll be honest, like I was a little nervous, right? Because I had a pretty good job. I was making pretty good money, and
The first child around that time, right?
yeah, I just had my second child. She was young and months old, and here I am trying to start a company with not even that really wasn't my initial. I wasn't trying to create a business. It just kind of happened. It got to the point where I was like, I had to make a decision, right? Like I reached a crossroads. I was like, do I continue working for the Motley Fool or do I go do this Hey Taco thing full time? And that was a big decision. You're right, having a newborn baby. I had been at the Motley Fool for 11 years, right? And to walk away from that is some people were like, "What are you doing? You're crazy." But I think I had really high conviction in that the problem I was solving was a real problem, and that there are a lot of other people out there that felt the way I felt, and then I felt that Hey Taco could help them.
What's the lesson number 8?
Yeah. Number 8, work on a problem you actually feel, right? How great is this? I feel like you kind of set me up for this. Hey Taco exists because I knew what it felt like to do meaningful work and still feel invisible. That feeling is what motivates me every day and it keeps me going. And when you work on something that you personally feel, quitting gets a lot harder. And so back to my point, like, I wake up every morning because the problem you and I are working on and the team is a problem that I've felt and I know others feel. And, it's meaningful work.
Well, and it sounds like, based on what I remember you saying over our time working together, it's also you can build better products because you can also experience the problem. right? You're not solving a problem that other people out there have and you think you have the best solution. You know what the problem is, you feel it, so you can also kind of use yourself as a potential customer.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I was the first customer, and so, I kinda built this for myself originally because of, how I was feeling at the time.
Sounds like that even after 10 years, you like receiving tacos.
I do, but I like seeing other people receive tacos even more, which I don't know if that's weird or not, but when I see you guys giving tacos on the team, or better yet, when I see people giving tacos out in public, or when I look at our dashboard and see, our customers giving tacos, like that for me is a very powerful.
Agreed. It's kind of like, in a football stadium, they have a noise meter. Our dashboard is like the gratitude meter, right? And the
Really?
higher it is, the more
Yeah,
excited we are about companies out there saying thank you to each other.
yeah.
All right, 7, is that where we are? Number 7?
7, yes. Number 7 is your customers are the best investors you'll ever have. What this means is early on, I knew I did not want to build a venture backed company. I wanted to bootstrap. I was much more eager to work for my customers than for investors. And, it's funny because over the years, I've had many investors reach out, and my answer has always been the same. I don't know what I'll do with your money. If you really want control of your destiny and to do well when your business does well, then keep your ownership. Your customers will be your best investors you'll ever have.
What caused you to not want to go down the venture route when you were starting?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with spending a decade working at the Motley Fool. I love investing and I love investors, but you know, I did not want to be in a position where it was just about the money. Like there's much more meaning in this for me than just trying to build a $1 million business, right? And so I think just because of my values, my personal values, and my experience working at the Motley Fool and being around investing for 10 years, I kind of wanted to step away from that and do this on my own, low pressure way and make it meaningful work.
Well, if I was to look at it from the outside, to me, it also seems like freedom is a big part of your values too, like not being forced to do things, building things because they're right, not because someone tells you to do them, and just living life on your own terms, building HeyTaco on your own terms and living life on your own terms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen this so many times and I know you've seen it. Like, when you're working for the investor, you end up with a different product. You also end up with a different customer, right? Because you're doing certain things that hit certain milestones, and so everything's different, right? Everything's different from the experience because you're trying to capture conversions. You rally around different goals, and the purpose is different.
All right, lesson number 6.
Lesson number 6, and I'm gonna shift here out of business, right? And kinda start wading in the topic of culture and recognition. And number 6 is tools don't create culture, people do. Okay? One of my favorite Hey Taco stories is about a customer who reached out asking if I could temporarily raise their taco limit to 100 tacos. And I thought, okay, like maybe they're having like a feedback Friday or something like that. No, there was a person at the company who was dealing with some really difficult personal issues, and they wanted to bump him up to the top of the leaderboard. And I was like, okay, this, I, I mean, no harm in that, right? And so I did it. And a few days later, I got an email from the guy that had been boosted to the number one position on the leaderboard, thanking me for increasing their team's daily taco limit. And I think like that's just like a great example of how people came together to create that powerful moment and ultimately, strengthen the connection on their team. And so tools don't create culture, the people do.
Oh, that's such a good story. I can't believe I haven't heard it before, but that's awesome.
I've shared it with you, but in a different way.
It's such a good story, and it also reminds me of kinda how, like, having a good productivity tool, project management tool doesn't get the work done. You still got to get the work done regardless of what tool you're using. So same with the cultures is like, you know, you can use any tool and it might not work if people are not right for it.
It's so true. Yep.
All right, lesson number 5. We're in the top half of our lessons.
Lesson number 5, and I'm going to step into the product land for a second here. Lesson number 5 is customer service is the product. HeyTaco would not exist today if it weren't for the importance I placed on customer service early on. I saw the inbox as an opportunity to connect, to learn, and improve the product. In fact, many of the early ideas came from support. Even after 10 years, as you know, Una, I still check the support email, and mainly just to kind of keep connected to the HeyTaco product. You've heard this, and I truly believe this, but customer service is not a department. It's how you stay close to the problem that you're trying to solve. So number 5, customer service is the product.
So we're not going to replace ourselves with an AI bot anytime soon.
Well, we're trying, but
Not to
it's still
replace,
the
but
product.
how about augment?
Yeah, augment. I think augment's good. That's interesting, right? When the AI becomes the product, right? And that's, we're seeing that today everywhere.
Yeah, and it's also like customer service is about the customer, and sometimes the customer doesn't want to email you, they don't want to talk to you, they just want an instant answer. So using AI to help actually service a customer and meet them where they are is the right thing to do. It's not about us not doing the work. It's about meeting the customer where they are, which is still good customer service in my definition.
Totally.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, recognition works best when it's imperfect. Typos, inside jokes, emojis, awkward phrasing. That's how you know it's human. In the early days, and I know you know this story, but in the early days when I was a little bit more of a risk taker, we had a celebration message that was triggered when somebody received their 30th taco. And along with that message was a Beyoncé GIF showing a taco shooting out of her into Daniel Radcliffe's mouth. Was it polished? No. Was it memorable? Absolutely. Recognition works best when it's imperfect.
Especially in today's AI world where you can double check every grammar and spelling. Like sometimes I'm like, did you write this or did the AI write this? Like when there's a typo, I'm like, I know that the person wrote it. It's a little bit like a
Exactly.
human verification check.
It's so true.
All right, we're in the top 3. I don't know
Top
if you
3.
organize them in the order of importance, but the way you're telling them, it sounds like, because you started with number 10, like ESPN's top 10.
There you go.
What's number?
Yep. Number 3 is recognition is a leading indicator. I've seen this over and over, including at OpenAI, an early HeyTaco customer. The day they launched ChatGPT, their taco giving spiked. Thousands of tacos have been given in a single day. And if you looked at their giving activity prior to the launch of ChatGPT, you'll see that it had been building up to the launch. I've seen this type of taco behavior at many companies, and in some cases, you could overlay company milestones with the peaks of taco activity. When recognition, when recognition is happening, it's flowing. Engagement usually follows, and vice versa. When the recognition slows down, the engagement usually slows. So, recognition is a leading indicator.
That's fun. Those companies can take a look at their taco data and literally create a company history of milestones just by looking at the spikes in recognition.
Absolutely.
All right, number 2.
Number 2, recognition reveals what actually matters. I spoke with a customer who had created their company values by looking at their taco activity and recognizing the types of recognition occurring. Most core values are written by leadership and pushed downward. This team discovered their peers were saying the things that really mattered, and so what people are thankful for reveals what they value. Recognition reveals what actually matters.
Well, and even at a personal level, remember one of our HeyTaco users, Steven, looked at his taco data to understand what do people appreciate about him and how has he been able to get promoted over the years, right? So even if you look at your own, like what do people say thank you to you for, it tells you what do they value about me and how can I contribute to this team the best.
Absolutely.
All right, then what's number 1?
Number one, okay, is HeyTaco is just a vehicle. The real work for me is helping treat each other better and feel appreciated. Everything else is just secondary.
I don't have anything else to add. You can't add anything to number one. That was just well said.
There you go. That is my top 10 lessons from building HeyTaco for the past decade.
So in about 10 years, we're going to do another one of these and do 20
There you go.
lessons in 20 years. So start writing those down and thinking about them ahead of time because we got a long way to go.
There you go. I'm already working on them.
Well, if you made it this far, thank you for listening and celebrating this milestone with us. Hopefully, some of these lessons help you in whatever you are building right now. Now, go give someone a taco. It's the best birthday present we can ask for.
Awesome. Thanks, Una.